Right, 13 September 2024, and today I'm going to be giving you my update for the evening. And as usual, I want to look at things as they happen, as happen in our country, and I want to provide you with some analysis of what is happening. And as I said before the SADC summit, we're entering a critical period where a lot of things are going to happen. But what you're going to see within these next few months is going to be very confusing. You're going to see a start, stop, and start, stop. Things will look like they're moving, and then suddenly they will stop. And then suddenly something big is going to happen. And specifically in ZANU-PF, you're going to see a lot of movement because the leadership of Mnangagwa is coming to an end. No one in ZANU-PF wants Mnangagwa to lead. People are fed up of Mnangagwa and people want change. So I want to take you through what has happened today, which is another sudden death of a general. And very soon you're going to see a burial at the Heroes Acre. So let's quickly go through what has happened. So this is the death of Peter Zimondi. So it's Peter Gideon Shik Zimondi. He died after an accident and he was in hospital. So he's died today. The announcement was made. He was a close relative or a cousin of Terence Shiri, and he had been in ICU since July. So this is from an accident. And this is one of those situations where I've told you in the past that most army generals are now living in fear, and most of them are now living in different places, according to my sources. Most of them are just going from one place to another because they are not clear what is happening, who is wiping them out. So I want to take you through the list since January. And since January, we've had more than 11 deaths, most of them sudden deaths, and most of them within people that were in intelligence. So people who are in intelligence of the Zimbabwe military or high-ranking officials who were higher than Mnangagwa during the war. So remember, I carried a lot of stories about Brigadier General Shadreck Vezha. He is the only serving person who was here. The rest of the guys were retired, and most of them were about the same age, and they were with Mnangagwa at the same time when he was in Mozambique, most of them, and most of them, as I said, were intelligence. There is a big suspicion among intelligence circles that these deaths are not natural. So as I said, many people in intelligence and in military right now, they are walking around, looking behind themselves, looking to the side and looking to the left. They don't know what is going to happen. They don't know if they're safe. So let's start with what happened in February. So that is Kenny Ridzai Mabuya. He died in February on the 2nd. So he was the first person to die in February. That is Ridzai Mabuya. So let's see if I can find a picture of him. So I don't have a picture here. So let's see if I'll find that picture. Sorry, Kenny Mabuya, right? I don't know where I got the name Ridzai, but I know Kuti. He's called Kenny Mabuya. Yes, he's also called Ridzai Mabuya. He's the first one to die. That was on 2 February. This was also a sudden death. Then soon after, we had that death of Shadreck Vezha, which was very suspicious, head-on collision with another army official. And most people believe that this was an assassination. Vezha was in intelligence, similar to Kenny Mabuya. Kenny Mabuya was the most senior person in all the list of people that exist. He was the most senior person after General Nash. He was the most senior person. Then Shadreck Vezha was like top. I told you that he was top intelligence. And then after that, there was the death of Nyasha Dzimiri, top intelligence. So he was in intelligence. He died also, and let's see what date was his death. Nyasha Dzimiri was 16 April, and then Shadreck Vezha was 29 April, and then Kenny Mabuya was 2 February, followed by the death of Tsitsi Jadagu on the 18th of April, and she also died of a short illness. So all these people died of a short illness, followed by another intelligence person who is Chaunoita. This man here, he was intelligence in Mnangagwa's office, sudden death also. So the pattern that is arriving here or that is coming out is one, you have to be in intelligence. Second, you have to die suddenly. And third, you have to be about the same age. So these are almost the guys who are in the same age, the period around 1958 to 1961. If you look, most of these guys here, they're Vezha 1961, Mabuya 1952, Tsitsi Jadagu 1943, and Romeo Mutsvunguma followed in June, on June 28. That is Romeo Mutsvunguma. Let's see if we can find a picture of Romeo Mutsvunguma. I'll try to find you a picture of Romeo Mutsvunguma. But the point I'm trying to make here is this has been a massacre. These guys are dying left, right, and center, and most of them are dying suddenly, and most of them are in intelligence. So these are intelligence people who are mostly connected to the coup that happened in 2017. And these people are irreplaceable in terms of the knowledge that they had about Mnangagwa and what they can do to the Mnangagwa government. If you go down, you're going to see that there are other people who have passed away. People like Makheti and Ndebele, people like Elasto, Madzingira. So there is not much that I can say about those other people. Some of them were just sick. For example, Makheti, I understand that he was living in destitution. He was so sick just before he died, to the extent that he could not afford medication. So some of them, especially the guys from Bulawayo, are neglected. They're dying out of being neglected. They've got nothing. Most of them don't even have a place to call home. For example, my understanding that Makheti Ndebele did not have a place to call home. He was being assisted almost as if he was a destitute or a case for assistance or for help. Although they were very senior in the military, some of them were just being neglected. However, the last two, who is Brigadier General Shadreck, Dingaan Ndabambi, and Peter Zimondi, these two, their deaths very suspicious and very sudden. One a road accident, one a sudden collapse. And this is what has made many people in the military and the intelligence look over the shoulders wherever they go. So let's see, I've gone for 8 minutes, and normally I don't want to go this long on an evening. I just want you to get clarity on what's happening. We have a serious problem with a succession battle, and probably one side is being wiped out. And eventually, we're going to see which side comes out on top. The people that are connected to the liberation struggle are going. There is no doubt about it. The ones that we know that are being buried at the National Heroes Acre, they're just a few. Here in the villages and in the towns, and people that you don't know, they are dropping. The many people who are connected to that liberation struggle are dying. But these top guys are dying suddenly, and they're dying inexplicably. You do not know what is happening, what is causing these deaths. And most of them suspect that this is not natural. Something else is happening, or someone else is behind these deaths. I've given you 10 from 2024. However, if you go to gambago.com, you'll find out that there's a list of 64 generals who have passed away. You just search for an article called "Who Killed the Coup Generals?" Who killed the coup generals on Gambakwe? You're going to see a whole list of generals on Gambakwe who were killed or who died suddenly and inexplicably also in the past since the coup in 2017. So there's been a massive change in the dynamics in the army. People who are retired, it's shocking what has happened in the Zimbabwe military. It's not you cannot explain it, and you cannot. If you tell someone, they'll tell you you're lying. This is not true. So go to gambago.com, you see who killed the coup generals, and this is all the lists from our friend Majiros, who kept a list of all these guys and the circumstances under which they died. It's a massive list. And some people who are watching me today, who are generals, they think they won't be affected. Do you remember when I said there are some people who think it won't happen to them? There are some people who watch me here and they say, this happened to that guy and that guy and that guy. And they say, it will never happen to me. I'm safe. And I said, whoever is the guy who thinks faster is the one who's going to remain, who is going to be on top. Whoever moves first is going to win. There's going to be a massive battle. Zimbabwe is going to do very, very well. Zimbabwe is the only country which is the way it is geographically. In the whole world, there's no country like Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe is like an open book with nothing written on it. The guy who's going to take over from Mnangagwa is going to be a hero. He's going to turn that country into a first world country very, very quickly. It's got minerals. People know what is wrong, and fixing it is very, very easy. You're going to see Zimbabwe doing very, very well, very, very quickly. And this is the fight. Because whoever takes over from Mnangagwa is going to suddenly become a billionaire. They are going to fall into massive wealth. Whoever takes over, the group of guys that is going to take over from Mnangagwa is going to be extremely wealthy. We are going to have a number of billionaires being created in Zimbabwe because Mnangagwa will focus on a small vision. There is a lot of things coming to Zimbabwe, high-speed rail, planned cities. We've got a lot that is coming to Zimbabwe, and the time is just right. The country is geographically small, but so rich. It's going to become one of the richest countries in Southern Africa. And this is where the fight comes. The fight to become the president of one of the richest countries in the world. That is what is going to happen to Zimbabwe. So I think I've covered everything. As you know, tomorrow is my birthday. It's going to be very interesting. 1976, 14 September. That is the day I was born. And I was born in Bikita. So that is Gambakwe for you. And it's going to be interesting. This month, I'm taking it easy. I'm not celebrating like last year. Last year, I went all out. You saw me like I was all over the place. But this year, I'm going to be with you guys. We're going to be moving. There is something that we need to do regarding high-speed rail. And I've got no choice but to stay on top of this. This is how Zimbabwe is going to change. Connecting the country with speed. So Harare to Bulawayo, 2 hours. Harare to Victoria Falls, 3.5 hours. Harare to Bedbridge, a railway to Gokwe. If you do those things, you're going to create one of the richest countries in the world. And these are the things that we should be focused on. Then let me give you a bit of news, very interesting news before I go. So the president of Botswana, the former president of Botswana, Ian Khama, has returned home. So let me show you a picture here. So Ian Khama is the former president of Botswana, and he has been in exile in South Africa and in Eswatini. He has now returned home, where he was taken to court, and after he arrived in court, charges against him were withdrawn or set aside. He fled Botswana in 2021, and he was being accused of having weapons, unauthorized weapons. So he's now back in Botswana ahead of the elections. He's going to be a key player in the upcoming elections, in which he's sponsoring a new political party that is going up against his former deputy president, Masisi. So massive interest in Botswana in what President Ian Khama, former President Ian Khama, is going to do. Is an extremely popular figure in Botswana. President Ian Khama. He's so popular that wherever he goes, he attracts the attention of crowds and people love him. So let's see what happens now that he's back in Botswana. It's like we've got two presidents in one country. And let's see how President Masisi is going to handle this situation. President Ian Khama back in Botswana. So I think I've covered a lot, and it's been amazing what has been happening at Zimbabwe. Since December, we've been streaming every single day. I've been here since that time when people went on holiday, and I decided that I'm going to do this, and it's been amazing. So now it's 14 September, my birthday. All your presents are welcome. Go to fumojena.com and put some money in those bank accounts. That is our fundraising platform, fumojena.com. And very soon I'll be making some announcements about how we're going to restructure all our platforms. I would like to thank all of you for watching, and let's go to the comments now. Mgoma passport, it sounds very convincing, although it mainly focus more on your perspective. Yes, I don't give you factual updates because no one is going to be stupid enough to kill people in public. So let me tell you what I think happened to the generals. I think they went to a function and someone poured something nice in their water or in their food. So the whole group is going to drop if that happened. Remember what happened to the generals went to one party. They dropped like that, like all of them. 60 of them dropped. Very sad. However, the ones that are having accidents or that are dropping suddenly, that is where the fear is. All of the generals that are just dropping, sudden death. And then Koma Trivangani, happy birthday, Gambakwe. Tenga President Mdara. Musangoti happy birthday. Ilego Fumo Jena. Munodonizana. Taza Zayo. And then Mkoma Fungai says, good evening, Mkoma Gambakwe. Good evening to all of you. And I really enjoy what is happening. Massive support for Gambakwe. Over 100,000 people coming to our platforms every day. And that's amazing. And then Mukoma Tafa says, Gambakwe Media ndiwe Fumo Jena, the Idzimu Mtapa. No, Fumo Jena is the father of all Zimbabweans. Murenga, Fumo Jena, one person. So Fumo Jena is where all Zimbabweans were born. And Chaminuka was the son of Fumo Jena. If you go into the history, I've given you a brief history of how Zimbabweans ended up where we are today. I've also given you the history of Gadziguru and how the Zimbabweans used to fly, how they ended up at the Great Zimbabwe. Vana Mnangagwa havazivi history. And Mnangagwa achapinda mu Great Zimbabwe, oita birthday party. Hambudi Mnangagwa. Monday, you're going to see him. Anotsvairwa nema spirits. Mnangagwa, mark my words. On Monday, when you come back here, we'll be talking something so big that would have happened at the Great Zimbabwe. These guys are playing with one of the 7 places on earth, like the Bermuda Triangle. There are only 7 places on earth like that, which are portals to the spirit world. That's why you can see no one can explain how this Great Zimbabwe was built. How were they able to lift all those rocks and arrange them, and the geometry and everything that happened there? No one knows. That's because it's a spiritual portal. And Anamnangagwa, they don't know what they're doing by holding their birthday in there. Zviri better Mnangagwa atoti again ndikurwara. Asapinde in Great Zimbabwe. Because after Sunday, I'm not going to see Mnangagwa again. It's going to be tough for him. People want power, yet our people have nothing. Yes, Mkoma Mako, we're going to sort it out. Zimbabwe is going to become one of the richest countries in the world. And it's going to happen. You're going to see it in your lifetime. I'd like to thank all of you for watching. Let's recap. Over 11 generals, mostly in intelligence, have died suddenly since January. And today we've had another sudden death of the general here, Peter Zimondi, who died after an accident which occurred in July. He has been in ICU, and most generals are now living in fear for their lives. Most Zimbabwe generals now living in fear for their lives. So thank you very much for watching. I'll see you again here tomorrow morning, 5 a.m. every day, as I give you the roundup of all the news around Zimbabwe. Thank you very much, and a good